Knicks and Bruises, we are back. I got my guy Sim in the building. Sim, appreciate you for joining me. We're gonna
No
kind of
problem.
just really continue the discussion of the elephant in the room. This rumor about Julius Randle. We got the clip. We're gonna throw the clip up, let that rock real quick, and then kind of just tackle a couple of topics that may have been discussed already, and hopefully we could touch on some things that we haven't got to yet. So here we go, Sim. Again, appreciate you being here. Let's go.
Clear about that? That after last night's Nick win that everyone was at against the Chicago Bulls, we all saw Julius Randle storm off the court negatively after winning a game that he has told the powers that be that he's done. He wants out. Now that is an unconfirmed story. I don't want to say that it's legit or confirmed, but it's got some legs right now that the team saw him walk off the court as if they had lost, went to him after the game, and he has expressed to people in the know there, I'm done as a Knick. Okay, goodbye.
Have you ever?
So there you have it. Speculation and unconfirmed rumor, and I heard about it. I was at work. I said I'm on break. I said let me check what's going on YouTube. I seen Sim was live already on top of the story. So I didn't get to see your whole episode on it, and I'm sure you covered a lot of topics. But I do have a couple of questions and a couple of comments about it, and I figured we touch on it a little bit more. So when you first heard about it, what was your initial reaction, your initial thought of the situation? And before you answer, I gotta give you props because for the first time, the night before or after the game, you came out and you said, you know what, you might be through with Randall. You know what I mean? Like, or not even that. It might be time for him to go.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So shout out to you for peeping it optically before any story was even out there.
Yeah, appreciate that. And that was my first thought when I read it. I was like, I thought it could be true. I know it's unconfirmed, but just the way that he left the floor, threw the ball, left the floor, you know what I'm saying? And whether he said it and meant it or his emotions just boiled over, I felt like what he said could be true.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Just from when you watched him in that game in the timeouts, he would be in a timeout, right? And he would be looking kind of side eyeing the coach, Tom Thibodeau, and what he's writing down on the board. But you got all four guys. You got four guys: R.J. Barrett, Quickly, Burks, Mitchell Robinson. Let's say sitting seat by seat by seat next to each other. He has a space between him and R.J. Barrett, and then it's him, right? So it's R.J. a seat and then him. You know what I mean? Every single time during the timeout, and he's just kind of sitting there, looking at the clipboard, seeing what's going on. Then he look out to the court, then he look at the clipboard. You know what I mean? Like not really engaged.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Just kind of disinterested, not really engaged. You know what I mean? And I was just watching it during the timeouts, like, yo, like, okay, I can understand if you want that space between you and him, just to have that space, but at least lean forward a little bit. Like
Yeah.
you're interested in what's going on. You know what I mean? So it's like I was seeing that, and then obviously, when he wasn't shooting well, you know what I mean, the crowd started chanting for Obi to come in. And then when Obi stood up to start coming in, Julius Randle felt like the dude that was trying to get the rebound came over his back. He yelled something at the ref. The ref hit him with a technical foul. The crowd started cheering because he got a technical foul. And it just felt like it could be irreparable, man. And then after the game, he just like straight up makes a beat. He don't shake hands with the opposite team. He
Mm-hmm.
don't shake hands with his own teammates. Makes it a beeline towards the locker room and throws the basketball behind him. And at that point, I was like, man, it's too toxic, man. It seems like it's too toxic. It reminded me of when LeBron James was leaving Cleveland for the first time, and he walked back to the locker room and he threw his jersey.
Mm.
right? It reminded me of that. You know what I mean? And that's why I thought, yeah, this could be true.
Uh, yeah, I didn't know what to think. So I will say this: I definitely noticed that how he walked off the court after the game, but it didn't strike a chord with me because I've seen him do that before. Maybe not with throwing the ball, and it wasn't like he threw the ball. It was like a blind toss behind the back, but it went far. You know what I mean? It was some strength in that, but I didn't think much into it. Honestly, until the report. Like even when you mentioned it struck a chord with me that you was like, his time might be up. It might be over. I'm like, man, you remember I made the joke like, what the check stopped clearing or something?
Right, right,
you,
right.
so it didn't even register until this report came out. But as far as I want the confirmation, but for sure before I could even like put my emotions into it. You,
Yeah,
you know what
I
I
mean,
mean? I don't want to overreact.
he just looked disinterested in the game, in the team, even when he was on the floor. You know what I mean? There were just times when he looked very disinterested. But then there were times when, like, for example, Mitchell Robinson hit the floor one time and, everybody went over to help him up. And I think he realized that he didn't. And he went over there and, just tapped him on the belly,
Yeah.
and said something to him, you know.
But
That
you
was,
know what? You know what, Sim? That's one thing I've noticed all year with him. Randall's never the guy picking someone up,
no,
like
never,
off the floor. Like
never.
it's always two guys or three guys running to the guy on the floor, and Randall's never the one.
No.
And I'll be honest with that. I've pointed that out like that. Like I watched it once, and then I looked for it, and I'm like, I've never seen him go run to help a teammate up.
Yeah. You
So
know,
so
so and so this is where I'm just like, it just, and I'm not blaming it all on Randall. You know what I mean? I know his play has been bad, but I think there's a lot of things surrounding, the team that's making it really difficult for him. You know what I mean? And I think he's fed up with it. And I know I was catching some heat from people in the comments and everything because I was talking about, how I felt like, the fans did him in certain ways. So I didn't absolve the fans. I
Mhm.
understand and I agree with everybody that ultimately Randall has to manage his own behavior. You know what I mean? He has to manage his behavior. He has to manage his attitude. He has to control the things that he can control.
Mhm.
But I don't think, in my opinion, it's just my humble opinion, I don't think the fans tried to make it easy on him. I think they tried to make it hard on Randall.
I agree. It's
Like
the
I just
troll
said,
syndrome.
yeah, like I just said in the game preview. When Randall's got 30 points and playing well, and RJ's not, and I'm not saying anything, I'm not putting the two against each other in this, right? But RJ's not, but the crowd starts chanting RJ Barrett, right? That's a direct slap in the face. That's directly saying we don't care about you. You know what I'm saying? And,
Let
and
me
trying to get under his skin.
let me take it even further. Let's say that's not the case, right? Let's say the fans are trying to uplift RJ.
Yeah.
Why can't we ever see that with Randall?
Right.
Why can't he be
Exactly.
playing bad and you guys cheer him? Come
Yeah.
on, man, you got it. You pick it
Right.
up instead of the other.
Yeah.
Because
So it's tough. And the reason why I say it like that, because it happened this year when Julius Randle was playing a good game and he was on the free throw line shooting, and the crowd starts cheering for RJ. You know what I'm saying? And that was deliberately to get under his skin.
hmm
And I
hmm
just don't think that's fair. You know what I'm saying? I don't, and I can understand his frustration. Like, yo, I'm having a good game. You know what I'm saying? I'm busting my ass out here, and this is what y'all do. Not that he's jealous of RJ, but this is how you guys are doing me. You know what I'm saying? Um, and you know what's gonna be funny? You know what's really gonna be funny? Let's say it comes out, all these Knicks fans want him gone. And let's say it comes out that he did say, I don't want to be here anymore and request a trade. People gonna be mad at him for that.
Yep. Yeah, I
Right.
was picking up on that in the previous stream earlier. Like some of the people in the chat, I'm reading some of the comments, and shout out to the chat, by the way. salute to you guys. I'm gonna address some of these comments in here as well. Um, but I was noticing some of the people who were saying get rid of him, he's a bum, were also mad at him for allegedly requesting the trade.
Right.
I'm like, you would think that they would be happy that maybe this gets the ball moving.
Right.
You
You
know,
know,
one of my biggest worries is as we talk about the fans and them not being, I'll say us, we not being absolved from this situation, is how does it look from the outside looking in when we're talking about, all right, we're going to trade Randle, we're trading for someone of value, I'm assuming, or when we talk about upcoming free agencies, when we have cap space, our players going to want to play here. Looking at this situation, looking at what Randall did from year 1 to year 2 to year 3, and the, I'll say, the bipolarism of the fandom, where you could hate him year 1, you could cheer him on year 2, he gets all these accolades, and then you could switch it right back around year 3, without so much of a grace period. You know what I mean? Do you think this will impact free agents considering coming here?
I do. Stars. I think it impacts stars wanting to come here because a regular free agent, is gonna know, the monkey's not on my back, right? I'm a second tier player, third tier player. It's not gonna be on my back, but the star knows it's gonna be on his back. You know what I mean? And a superstar is gonna be like, in my opinion, superstar is gonna say, I can go to Phoenix or Utah or Portland or one of these other cities. I'm still going to be marketable because I'm a superstar, right? But I don't have to deal with that.
All right, I'm gonna put a comment up, right? And before I put it up, I want you to think back to last night game, or the last game when RJ got that technical foul, and I text you and I said, watch people start blaming
Rain.
Randall
I
for
remember that.
RJ's technical. And here we got Walter Walter White. Is this the one? Um yeah, I thought it was gonna be get ejected, but when RJ caught the technical, it's like Randall's behavior is rubbing off on him. And I knew that was coming, but I want to ask you, as the more knowledgeable, I'm gonna say, basketball mind in this situation, because
Said he was
because
joking. Walter White said he was joking.
okay, okay, okay.
What is the question, though?
well,
What is the question?
well, is there merit to it? Because Walter, I wasn't trying to call you out. I knew it was coming from multiple people in the chats, and not for nothing, it's been visibly noticeable that RJ has gotten a lot of technical fouls as of late, as his game has gotten better. He's also been more demonstrative with refereeing, with a lack of a foul call here and there. But I could count at least 4 of them where, you know what I mean, he yells at the ref, pumps his fist at the ref, and doesn't run back up the court. Now, number one, have you noticed that? And do you think this is a reflection of, I don't want to say monkey see, monkey do, but bad leadership, and maybe being taught that?
Yeah, I think there's two parts to it. One, I think once somebody turns 18, in my opinion, there's no more, oh, I did it because he did it. You know what I'm saying? You're 18 years old. You know how to make your own decisions. I feel that way. But also, when it comes to the organization, if one player sees that another player did something and got away with it, and then that player, like RJ sees Julius Randle, got away with getting these technicals, and nobody said anything to him, this, that, and the third, right? And so when he's frustrated and feels like, he wants to swing his arm, swing his fist at the ref, he feels okay. Like, okay, you know what? This is allowed here. You know what I'm saying? Not that Julius Randle,
Mm-hmm.
not that his behavior is coming from Julius Randle, but the organization allows this. You know what I mean? And of course, players get technicals around the league. You know what I mean? We've seen It could be a sensitive ref. It could be anything. We seen Zach Levine get a technical for the same exact thing.
Yeah, same game. Yep,
Same
absolutely.
exact thing, right? For pumping his fist because the referee didn't call a foul that he thought he should have gotten. You know what I mean? So I don't believe that RJ Barrett is going to look at Julius Randle and pick up his behaviors. He's old enough to know what behaviors not to pick up, in my opinion. So no, I don't think Randle and his behavior is rubbing off on RJ Barrett. If they were 15 years old, yeah, I would agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Because they're children. You turn 18, that responsibility is on you. You know what I mean? RJ Barrett's 21 years old. He knows right from wrong. You know what I'm saying? He can look at Julius Randle and say, I'm not going to do that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I'm not going to do that.
and that actually was my argument that if anything, he should be learning from watching Julius Randle
Right.
and not to be funny, but learning what not to do, learning what affects the team negatively, learning what the response from the fans are from some of these actions and demeanors and things of that nature. So um there's always that. He's witnessing it from a closer view than us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he should see that. I want to run
So
through these.
oh, I'm
Go ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Walter White got it right. He said Randall's tech wasn't even boisterous. He just said something slick. And exactly, he did. The dude came over his back and he just said something. And then the ref, boop, give him the check. We don't even know if it was warranted or not. He just said something.
Yeah, that could be based off reputation at this
Yep.
point.
Yep. Yep.
All right, I want to run through these. I'm gonna keep this brief. Chat, do not kill me, and please do not misunderstand what I am trying to say. And if I seem to be a little bit off in what I'm saying, and you understand what I'm saying, please try to correct
All right.
correct me. But we had this conversation off the air, and I was telling you about how I was thinking of Randall's situation of being in the Lakers and kind of being mentored or under the wing of Kobe Bryant, who's, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant, who didn't have the greatest reputation as a good teammate, right? Or his style of maybe uplifting his teammates and things of that nature. And if that could have an influence on Randall and his leadership style or lack of, you know what I mean? Like he didn't really get to learn. He learned from one of the greatest players of all time. You know what I mean? Work ethic and fighting hard and things of that nature. But he may have picked up some things that aren't going to work for him, because obviously he's not the player of stature as a Kobe Bryant. So
Mhm.
he's not going to be able to get away with some of the things that a Kobe Bryant was able to get away with. And you can make the same argument for a guy like Michael Jordan, who Kobe emulated. I think it was very similar in that aspect. Jordan may have Jordan may have had moments where he uplifted a player, but I've witnessed with my own eyes more where teammates were scared of him. Teammates
Right.
were ridiculed by him, or
Right.
point the finger pointing and things of that nature. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's like this. If Randall picked up those things from Kobe, he picked it up by choice. Right? I think it goes back to the same thing with RJ Barrett and Julius Randle. You know what I mean? He's old enough to know if he saw Kobe Bryant treating someone the way, in a certain way, he could old enough to say, I'm not going to lead like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's not the way that I want to do it. So he could have learned it from Kobe, but I'll say if he did learn it from Kobe, he picked it up by choice. He decided this is the way that I want to do it too.
Well, rather than what he learned from him, I'm more talking about what he didn't learn because of the style of a leader in which Kobe was. You know what I mean? Like, so he didn't really learn the uplifting part.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? He didn't really. You know what I mean? So I don't want to. Again, I'm never trying to say anything bad about Cole, but people lead in different ways. There's different styles of it, and you're talking about a guy who in Randall who's still learning that leadership role, right? But he has to have a reference point of
Mhm.
something of where did he pick certain things from, and if he didn't learn something, then where do you pick it up from? You know what I mean?
No,
And
no, I know exactly what you mean. Like that's the only reference point that he has. I still think you make a choice because at a certain, I'm sure he's been around enough people to know that there's other ways, to go about leading. You know what I'm saying?
and you think about the next situation for him with AD. I mean that was a debacle of a guy who didn't want to be there. So it's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so even then he, you know what I mean, like it was like I guess I just gotta play the best I could play, and I think that's probably the best model or solution for him moving forward. Man, just play your game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just play your game. Do your best. But last thing I want to kind of cover with you is if this thing is true, I think we both agree the best solution is sit him rest of the season. There's no point if you don't want to be here, and that's how you feel. There's no point in you even finishing out this season. But what do you think the market would be for him? Um, what is acceptable? I think somebody had mentioned Harrison Barnes, and whether it's a pick or two or whatever, you said that would be acceptable. I think at this point the bar is low,
Mhm.
and I say that because you you know a couple months ago when we was talking about the trade deadline, you didn't think Barnes was a good fit as an addition to the team, and that would have been including Randle. So I think at this point it's fair to say that like it's the scenario, it's the situation. It's kind of like move on, get what you can get, and that what makes Barnes and the pick more acceptable. Now, especially in the Randle trade.
Mhm.
Any other guys out there or situations or scenarios that you would go for? I do want to throw out there that, and I know this is far fetched and crazy, but the only team that I could think that is having like a or fan base that is having a comparable, if not worse, time than us right now is the Laker fans. The Lakers fans and fan base.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it just came out that they think they're going to be open to moving AD. Um, I was speculating that don't be surprised if LeBron asked to be moved. So if we could get AD with his injury history and injury concerns, obviously, would you go for that move? Because at this point, isn't that more of an addition by subtraction? Like even if AD is hurt, it's like at this point, if Randall don't want to be here, get rid of him. Take
Yeah.
the chance on
I don't
AD.
I don't know what
Or,
his
or
contract is like, but me personally, if Randall don't want to be here and we're gonna move him, I would I don't think I would go after AD. I don't think I would have to, one, I feel like it then makes us have to, I don't even know how old he is right now, but it makes us have to because of his injury history, really push up that timeline even more, in my opinion, than with Randall being here. Make us have to push up that timeline, I think. I would rather try to get someone. I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to trading him for multiple pieces, even if they're not, a one-star impact guy, but multiple pieces that help us fill out the roster in other areas, and then of course making other moves. You know what I'm saying? If we could, I mean, if that's really the case, I really do think he could end up in Dallas. That could be a situation where he ended up in Dallas and we brought Jalen Brunson back. But not
mm,
for that money. It would be Jalen Brunson and somebody else, maybe. But I could see that happening. Where he ends up in Dallas.
Hometown kid.
Now, Luca is going to be the star out there. You know,
Yeah.
so he doesn't have that on his back. So that could be something that really works for him. You got another guard out there in Spencer Dinwiddie. Like there's some stronger personalities than
Kind of
his.
makes him the third option
Yeah,
automatically, where he could excel and exceed.
yeah, and his contract ain't too bad. They're a team that got a lot of money wrapped up. So that could be a possibility. And his buddy Reggie Bullock is out there.
Yeah.
Frank is out there.
You they'll really be the new the
He
Mavericks.
never played with Tim Hardaway, but Tim Hardaway is out there. They'll have something to talk about. You know what I mean?
Oh wow, yeah, that's a good point. That makes a lot of sense. And you're okay with you're that high on Brunson as because I think he would be the main piece in that
Yeah,
trade. I don't know
I
if
mean,
we would get something better than him along with him
right.
in that trade. And that
I'm,
would be
I'm just,
very
I'm just,
ironic.
I'm just thinking if he's a guy, if Brunson, I don't know what Brunson, I like him. I don't know how much I'm paying him. I don't know if I'm paying him 20 million, but I like him. I think he would be serviceable, and maybe another guy that has a chance to break out and be really good, right? You're trying to get guys. You're trying to get a guy like the way that the Knicks did with Randle, trying to get a guy that is on the verge of breaking out. You know what I'm saying? You get him on a nice contract, and then if he breaks out, boom. If he doesn't break out, you probably are still able to move him. With Julius Randle for a season, he broke out, and it seemed like it worked. So on the right contract, I wouldn't mind Brunson. Um, and then whatever, however the other pieces fall in place. Because if you're getting one of those kind of point guards, they're trading for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're trading for it. And people that are, I'm not doing Damian Lillard, right? Because I think Damian Lillard's 31, 32 years old. You got to pay him $40 million of $50 million in his last season. You know what I mean? Now you got to try to put a team around him. I don't think that's going to make sense.
I mean, at this point, I ain't gonna lie. Again, if Randall if this is a true statement, I'd pursue. I wouldn't mind Dame, just because I feel like it's an upgrade in number one option, right?
Right.
And it doesn't hinder RJ in any sense. At least I don't believe so. You never know how chemistry works until you start mixing things.
Well, my big concern is, can we put a team around them fast enough? Can we put a team around them? You know what I mean? And what does that end up? Does it make us end up having to, move on from some of the guys that we're building and try to rush a team together around Damian Lillard? That would be my biggest concern.
I think it puts us back in the where we thought we were with Randall coming into this year. You know what I mean? Like a perennial playoff team. I think we thought that's where we were. Not anywhere contending for the title, but something to build off of. But I agree with you. Last guy, this is again the elephant in the room. If Zion, Zion, the Duke trio, and building the future based off of those three guys, and basically at that point, I guess everyone else is expendable, and we're building off that foundation right there. Um,
I get
injuries and all.
yeah, I obviously get concerned about his injuries, but you'd have to do it. If that was on the table, you would have to do it. It'd be no way you couldn't do that, in my opinion.
Peace, Queen.
There'd be no way you couldn't do it.
Just to catch you up, we talk about the elephant in the room. It's kind of me picking Sim's brain at this point. We're trying to get some answers and
in terms of who we betrayed him for.
That's where we are at right now.
Okay.
And the last guy I brought up was Zion at this point, and basically saying Zion, RJ, Cam, and that's that foundation. That's our cornerstones, and
Oh,
I would think everything else has to be on the table as far as what it takes to get Zion.
if he's
But
healthy, I'm for it.
I mean, at this point, I don't think we know. And even if he's healthy today, I think it's a risk, regardless of you know what I mean. Like healthy today,
What?
so is it worth the risk
Let
with
me
the
ask.
unknown?
Let me ask you this: what would you feel about, and maybe Atlanta wouldn't have anything to do with it, but if it was something that was on the table, would you do a John Collins for Julius Randle?
Honestly, Sim, like if the rumor is true, it's like KP. Get him out, get the best deal you could get for him. Don't overthink it. You know what I mean? So absolutely, I would. It's really not much that I wouldn't do. I think Collins is he's probably not gonna create his own offense and create for others as well as Randall, but I think he could fill a role
Mm-hmm.
and be a successful piece and a piece for the future. So yeah, I would do it.
But I've seen Collins' game develop a little bit. Like I've seen him in the post. I've seen him, hit some jump shots. What I like about him is not like Randall, where you got to try to put the genie back in the bottle and try to ask him to reduce his role. He's not a playmaker. That's not what he does. So I think that'll be a easy fit. It's just that Collins is Obi's comp, right? When you think about Obi, you're like, can he be Collins, who came in as mostly a rim runner, but developed the 3-point shot, developed in the post?
I think the difference though, I think they could play together in a starting lineup for
Really?
4 or 5. I think you could put Collins at the 5 and keep Obi at the 4, and they could play together. I mean, I don't know how great they'll be immediately,
Or
but
defensively?
I think that's something you could build off
Hmm.
um long term.
Hmm.
So I don't think they would hurt each other or I don't think it would be the log jam like with Randall here.
I think so, if Tibbs is the coach, because that's the same thing. Randall could play the 5. Tibbs like his rim protection, so he didn't want to play the small ball.
Yeah,
It's going to
but
be much the same if Tibbs is here.
isn't Collins like 6'10" at least?
Is
You know
he?
what I
If
mean?
he is, he's a thin 6'10".
I think he is. I don't know. Let me see.
I'm pretty sure he's taller than Randall, right? And Randall's 6'9". So I think he
You
can
think
play the
that
5.
1 inch would change Tibbs' mind?
He's
I think
6'9", 226. John
oh,
Six
Collins,
nine.
okay.
and Randall is 6'8", 250.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think it's a better option at the 5, a small ball 5. And I think it's what we've been asking for, like as far as like a guy who could stretch the defense at the 5. So I think he could play the 5. Again, now if I'm not giving up on Randall either though. So if excuse me, Mitch, if Mitch is here, then I'm Obi got to wait his turn or outplay Collins. And we talk about another $100 million contract, right?
125 million
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He
So I
got.
that
don't.
he just signed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do it. I do it.
That's a lot. I mean, the Knicks, they're gonna really have to do some roster management, contract management. Cam's contract is coming up. If you do that, well, I guess Randall will be coming off, so it would be, Collins would pretty much fit into that. So maybe that won't be so bad. But
Yeah. Look, the
But
Knicks.
I think I'm sorry. I think the Zion thing has so much legs to it. Like especially if you're giving RJ the keys, right? Or and now at this point you kind of get that leverage of some say in things.
you think
And
it's gonna be like that?
I'm not saying he's demanding it, but if I think he might recommend it, he might say, "Hey, can we do it? Can it be done?"
Listen, the front office. Do you want to tie yourself um to him? Because if it doesn't work out, you out that whole front office is out of a job. I mean, that's a big risk, you know?
I think he's a risk. He's the type of player that you risk it all for. I think
Right.
personally.
But
I,
the front
um
office just has to think long and hard because if that falls down and you give him this big contract and it doesn't work out, you out of here.
yeah.
What do you guys think about? I heard some people bring up, ask about DeAndre Ayton in Phoenix, right? Um, you know, obviously he's due a contract this year. Um, do you think there could be, hey, Randall goes there, maybe Randall and Mitch goes there,
Mm.
right? They get a power forward in the center. We get a center like DeAndre Ayton, and then you still got Obi at the power forward spot, and you got to fill in the rest of the roster.
I wouldn't mind. I do that also. It's funny because I was gonna ask about Cam Johnson and something. I don't know if they have like a contract filler or a bad contract that we could attach to kind of make the money match. But
Oh, I don't. I mean, I think Randall has more value than Cam
no,
Johnson.
I agree too. My only question with the Aiton thing is, it was one game, but Mitch dominated that boy. Like
Yeah,
Mitch, you
it
know what I
was
mean?
one
Like,
game.
but that's my guy Mitch. So now it's like, uh, and how effective or great is Aiton going to be without a point guard? We seen Mitch without a point guard. We haven't seen Aiton without a point guard.
Right.
I don't think he could be any worse than Mitch without a point guard. I mean, yeah, I mean,
But the thing is, what would Mitch's ceiling be with a point guard? What would we see from Mitch with the point guard?
I
We,
think
we
Mitch
haven't
would,
we haven't seen that.
but it's not just the offense. So with a point guard, Mitch would probably get more alley oops. But that's it though. It's not like, he gonna have a turnaround jumper. You're gonna be able to throw the ball in the post. It's just gonna be more alley oops if we have a point guard.
I think it's more than alley oops.
Like
I
what
think
would happen
I think a lot of things would change with a point guard. I mean, yeah, alley oops
offensively?
would be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just alley oops. I'm saying drop pass, skip passes, pick and roll more. We see a lot more, and I think it'd activate him even more on defense. Like if he's if he's
But
getting
even with a
easy,
pick and roll, what is he gonna do? Dunk it.
yeah, yeah. I was just saying it didn't have to be a oop. It could be like
Okay. All
a,
right.
a skip.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and we seeing more from Mitch as well. But Aiton's better. I wouldn't argue it. I definitely I do it. No problem. No problem. Again, if he don't want to be here, get him out. Get him out fast. Maybe not as fast as the Porzingis move because, well, number one, it won't be because they gotta wait till the off season. But as soon as you can move him, I think you should be making your negotiations now as we speak, so that as soon as it's available to happen, it's a done deal, and there's no reason to play him.
Can
My,
Aiton hit the three? Doesn't he take a few
he take
threes or
him.
something?
He take him.
I think he takes a couple of them.
Okay.
My last question though really is if it is true, right? And the Knicks is still trying to win games, do you still sit them even with the lineup being so thin tonight? Hey, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
I
if
mean,
it's
granted,
if it's
oh
true, if it's
yeah,
true, yeah, you know, eh,
and is that the organization's decision or the Tibbs thing? Because I think Tibbs is like, all right, cool, but we can't do nothing now, so get out.
I mean, he probably is like that. Like, yeah, well, we can't do that now. Now check this. Steph Bondi, he tweeted out. He said, "I asked Thibodeau if, as far as he knows, Julius Randle wants to be with the Knicks, and his answer was this: Yeah, as a coach, you coach the players that you have, and you love them all. If you play for me, I love you. It's simple. The challenge is to bring the best out of each other." I don't know if he actually answered the question, but that was his response.
So
Interesting.
Julius will be playing tonight.
Yeah, he just answered
Right.
my question basically.
Right.
He just answered my question. Like Julius is playing. Sim, I appreciate you joining, Queen. I know we got the crossover in about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna end this one short. So we got a little time to do a bathroom break, drink break, whatever. Chat. I appreciate you guys as always. Shout out to you, Your Blackest Time, and I see y'all in about 10 minutes on a crossover. Keep doing your thing. Any last words?
I think that's it. I'm just looking forward to see what happens tonight. How
Yeah.
things go. It's gonna be interesting.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah, we're gonna keep this conversation going. See y'all in 10 minutes. Salute. Your Blackest Time.